So now that we know that what financial investment challenges we face in terms of BIM adoption, let's talk about how to solve this challenge. And the only way I can suggest is to create a BIM transition plan. When we create a BIM transition plan, we assign milestones. We assign that, okay, my step one might be upgrading my hardware and researching about the BIM standards. Then next step could be investing into a BIM program, looking at my options. What BIM program am I going to adopt in my organization? Be it Revit, be it ArchiCAD, be it Vectorworks. It entirely depends on what kind of project you want to do, and which, like, all these programs are amazing, and they do provide a lot of options of BIM adoption, but you have to decide what you are going to adopt. And similarly, in step three, it might be that you start investing into a training program, and you start investing into looking into BIM standards and finalizing a training schedule, and so on and so forth. So what you see here is a very sample BIM transition plan, but it entirely depends on what kind of how do you want to span it, and how much time do you want to give to your company for BIM adoption. But certainly planning ahead of time and investing step by step is a great way to go. And if you have to bring in an expert to help you with that, it's perfectly fine, because while you're working on your projects, or while you're doing all of this stuff, it's not always possible to do it all by yourself. So having somebody come on board who can help you with this planning and help you that when can you invest in what kind of program, that will be a great solution to this. Next thing is time. Now I know that because the resources are limited, and always we are running, from one deadline to the other, from one project to the other, from one submission to the other, we do not have a lot of time to invest in who's going to research what the BIM standards are, who's going to work on the project and creating, let's say, a standard BIM template, or who's going to coordinate the staff training and all of that stuff. And this is a big challenge. Like, even if you can spend the money, but if you do not have enough time, or you do not plan for enough time, it's a challenge. Now, when I'm talking about all these challenges, again, I would say that the solution comes with planning. Create a BIM transition plan, create a BIM support group in your organization, or bring in an external BIM support in your organization who will help you span your BIM adoption. And that's the way to go about it. And even when we have talked about investing into time, or investing into money, or planning all of this, we still have to deal with a big learning curve. And generally, a learning curve would look something like this, where in starting you start to know something, and then eventually there's a big curve, and then you become really proficient with that. But you know what happens? I really like this saying by Benjamin Franklin, which says that, tell me and I forget, teach me, I remember, involve me and I learn, which means that, like everything else in life, like everything else that we do, it's only through involvement, and it's only through trial and test, and it's only through regular work that you would learn which is the best way to adopt BIM in your organization. And actually, how the learning curve would look like would be something like this, in which at start you know that you don't know anything, and then when you start training for it, you start researching, you kind of naively think that maybe I know a little bit stuff, but you actually don't know. And when you start applying it on the projects, and you know it's very discouragingly realistic that you know that you don't know a lot of stuff, but that's the way to go about it. That's like, so from there your journey starts, and then you finally achieve what you want to achieve in this whole process. And only through patience, and it's only through accepting, and it's only through having enough support within your staff and within your organization, that if there will be people who will make mistakes, and there will be people who would make some or other kind of not so smart move on the project while they're adopting BIM, there'll be wrong practices. But that's all the part of learning curve, and we really have to count in for that learning curve in the project.
Hello everyone, I hope you liked this video. This video is a clip from our 3-part webinar series, BIM for small to medium-sized companies. If you want to listen to the entire webinar, please subscribe to our channel and click on the link in the description. You can also follow us on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. You can also visit us at www.bimwise.com.